Rory McIlroy has just ripped the polite wrapping off Brian Rolapp's grand PGA Tour revolution, and what sits underneath looks less like progress than a velvet rope around professional golf. Rolapp is selling promotion, relegation, bigger fields, cleaner schedules, and weekly consequences. McIlroy sees famous tournaments being pushed downstairs unless sponsors deliver enormous checks. LIV stars, meanwhile, still have no clearly defined doorway back into the main house. Put those pieces together, and the sales pitch starts smelling like a total scam built to protect the club rather than unite the game. That phrase captures the growing accusation. It is not a verified direct quotation from Rory. His actual words were damaging enough. He called Track 2 a glorified Corn Ferry event and blamed LIV for creating a false economy. Translation: golf spent years fighting a money war, then copied its worst habits while pretending the result was meritocracy. Today we are breaking down why Rory's warning has thrown Rolapp's 2028 plan into chaos, why traditional events should be terrified, and why LIV may have become the excuse for a system that keeps outsiders outside. Before this turns into another boardroom sermon with a golf logo pasted on the front, hit like, subscribe, and tell us whether promotion and relegation will save the tour or split it permanently. Start with Rolapp's promise. Beginning in 2028, the PGA Tour plans to divide its ecosystem into a championship series and a challenger series. Roughly 24 top-level events will place the leading players together more often. Fields are expected to reach about 120 golfers, cuts will return, and tournament purses at the highest level will begin around $20 million. Beneath that sits a second circuit featuring at least 20 events, 144 player fields, standard cuts, and purses starting near $4 million. 90 golfers will retain championship status, while at least 20 challenger players earn promotion. Anyone falling short faces relegation, although a last-chance route is also planned. On paper, that sounds wonderfully clean. Everybody earns a place, nobody receives a permanent throne, every late-season putt carries danger. Rolapp even compared the concept to English football, where clubs climb or fall based on results. Cute analogy. One tiny problem remains: golfers are not football clubs, tournaments are not interchangeable stadium dates, and history cannot be relegated without consequences. Rory's objection lands directly on that weak spot. Speaking before the 2026 U.S. Open, McIlroy pointed toward the Canadian Open as the kind of historic tournament that could be shoved into Track 2. His description was brutal: a glorified Corn Ferry event. Consider what that means. The Canadian Open dates back more than a century, has national significance, and carries a winners list filled with major champions. Yet under a system designed around purse size, television clarity, and concentrated star power, tradition may count for less than whether a sponsor can pony up $30 million. That was Rory's phrase, and it exposed the uncomfortable economics behind the glossy presentation. Rolapp calls the structure simpler. McIlroy hears an invoice. Executives call it competitive clarity. Fans may see beloved stops receiving a polite demotion because their corporate wallets are not heavy enough. Golf has always depended on sponsors, obviously, but turning financial muscle into a practical ranking system for tournaments is not pure meritocracy. It is capitalism wearing spikes and asking everyone to admire the footwork. Then comes LIV Golf, the ghost haunting every meeting, even when Rolapp says it is not his priority. McIlroy argued that LIV created a false economy by throwing enormous money at players, forcing the PGA Tour to raise purses, shrink fields, and protect its stars. He also admitted those emergency moves made sense when talent was escaping. That nuance matters. Rory is not pretending the tour faced an imaginary threat. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and others changed the market overnight. Loyalty suddenly needed a price tag. Signature events became financial fortresses. Equity awards appeared. Everyone discovered innovation shortly after discovering panic. Now Rory believes the threat has weakened. yet the expensive machinery remains. Instead of returning to a broad, healthy circuit, leadership is hardening the emergency response into permanent architecture. That is why the scam accusation carries emotional power. LIV triggered the crisis, but ordinary tournaments and borderline tour members may end up paying the bill long after the alarm stops ringing. Here is where the keep live out theory catches fire. Rolapp has said the new structure was not initially built around a special return path for contracted LIV players. Complete eligibility rules, including routes connected to the DP World Tour and college golf, remain unfinished. No sponsor exemptions are planned for championship series events. Separate points lists will control movement between the two circuits. Those choices can be defended as fairness. Why should somebody collect a giant LIV contract, return whenever convenient, and jump ahead of professionals grinding through the approved ladder? Plenty of PGA Tour members would reject that immediately. Still, the design also creates an elegant barrier. A returning star cannot simply receive a sponsor invitation into a top event if those exemptions disappear. Ranking access becomes harder when rival league appearances do not feed the same points system. Relegation rhetoric provides a perfect shield. Nobody is banned, officials can say. They simply have to earn entry. That sounds neutral until you ask who wrote the ladder, who controls its first rung, and which careers were already standing upstairs when the doors closed. McIlroy's history makes his criticism especially dangerous. Nobody carried more water for the PGA Tour during the opening LIV War. Rory defended legacy, competition, and the meaning of playing against the best. He sat through meetings, answered endless questions, and became the public face of loyalty, while other stars stayed comfortably quiet. Later, when negotiations shifted and executives announced a framework agreement involving Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, he looked blindsided and exhausted. Eventually, his position softened. McIlroy said division was unsustainable and supported bringing the best players together again. That evolution was not surrender. It was recognition that fans were tired of watching elite golfers meet mainly at majors while administrators promised unity in language polished by 12 lawyers. Therefore, when Rory warns that Rolapp's model could diminish historic tournaments, leadership cannot dismiss him as a LIV cheerleader. He fought LIV harder than almost anyone. His complaint comes from somebody who believes the tour may have learned the wrong lesson from winning the immediate battle. Rolapp's defenders have a strong counter-argument. Scotty Scheffler welcomed the direction, particularly the return of 120-player fields and proper cuts. Tommy Fleetwood praised the competitive element and the chance for strong play to move golfers upward. Fans regularly complain that the current schedule is confusing. Stars appear unpredictably, and fall events struggle to explain their importance. Promotion and relegation could fix some of that. Picture Sunday afternoon with one player chasing a title, another fighting for the top 90, and a challenger golfer hunting immediate promotion through a second victory. Suddenly, the middle of the leaderboard matters. Television has stakes beyond the trophy. Careers swing on every approach shot. Rolapp is not foolish for seeing drama there. His NFL background taught him that understandable consequences keep casual viewers invested. Golf badly needs clearer stories. Nevertheless, useful drama does not excuse careless collateral damage. A system can produce gripping television while hollowing out the institutions that made the product valuable. Reality shows understand that trick perfectly. Nobody wants the Canadian Open treated like an eliminated contestant. Another issue hides inside the word meritocracy. Golf leaders love that word because it sounds clean, noble, and impossible to oppose. Who could object to earning a position? Yet access determines opportunity. Championship players will compete for much larger purses on premium courses with stronger fields and greater visibility. Challenger golfers will battle for smaller rewards while trying to climb. Once separated, those groups may experience very different ranking opportunities, sponsorship attention, and preparation resources. 20 promotions sound generous until a respected veteran finishes 91st because of injury, a cold month, or an unlucky schedule. Medical exemptions and career milestones are expected to receive consideration, but final rules remain pending. Every exemption creates another argument. Every protected category weakens the purity of the meritocracy slogan. Meanwhile, LIV returnees could face penalties or pathways that have not been publicly settled. The tour is advertising a finished mansion while architects are still debating where the staircase goes. Rory's warning asks the obvious question: why celebrate simplicity before the most controversial eligibility details even exist? Traditional tournament organizers now face an ugly negotiation: raise more money, improve facilities, secure better dates, and hope the championship series selects you. Failure could mean placement on the challenger calendar, where fewer stars and smaller purses may reduce television interest. Reduced attention can weaken sponsorship value, making it even harder to raise the cash required for promotion. That cycle is vicious. Once demoted, an event may struggle to buy its way back. Historic reputation alone will not guarantee survival if commercial measurements dominate. Communities that have hosted tour golf for decades could watch their event become second class overnight. Volunteers, charities, local businesses, and loyal ticket buyers do not fit neatly into a broadcast strategy slide. Their contribution is real anyway. Sarcasm practically writes itself. Congratulations on supporting professional golf for 70 years. Please enjoy your commemorative plaque while the stars fly to whichever market produced the shinier spreadsheet. LIV's response, even without an official statement aimed at Rory's criticism, practically creates itself. Recruiters can tell players the PGA Tour now offers uncertainty, demotion, and a complicated points chase, while LIV offers guaranteed contracts, team ownership dreams, and limited fields. Critics will laugh at that sales pitch because LIV has its own relegation rules and restricted access. Fair enough. The irony is enormous, yet marketing rarely waits for consistency. Every confused PGA eligibility category becomes LIV content. Every historic tournament pushed downward becomes evidence that the old tour abandoned tradition. Every angry veteran becomes a potential phone call. Rolapp wants to reduce LIV's relevance, but an unpopular restructuring could hand the rival league fresh talking points. Nothing says strategic genius like copying your competitor's closed shop appearance and then acting shocked when the competitor calls you a closed shop. Rory also understands something television executives sometimes forget. Scarcity only increases value when the product remains meaningful. Putting top golfers together more often sounds irresistible. Still, if every week carries a giant purse, a premium label, and manufactured importance, viewers may stop feeling the difference. LIV's false economy was not only about money, it was about trying to purchase significance. The PGA Tour's history supplied significance organically through courses, communities, rivalries, and accumulated memory. Demoting established events while elevating whichever tournaments meet financial targets risks trading inherited meaning for expensive sameness. 24 elite stops can become wallpaper if each presentation screams that this week is monumental. Fans know when urgency grows naturally. They also know when a marketing department has placed fireworks around a spreadsheet. Brian Rolapp deserves credit for addressing real weaknesses. Current golf is fragmented, difficult to follow, and often terrified of decisive change. The 2028 model restores cuts to premium events, expands fields beyond the smallest signature formats, recognizes a regular season champion, and introduces match play into the postseason. Those ideas may improve the product substantially. Even Rory did not reject every possible reform. His comments focused on what could be lost: tournament stature, financial sustainability, and the broad character of the tour before LIV distorted the market. That distinction should guide the debate. This is not a simple fight between progress and nostalgia. It is a battle over which parts of golf deserve protection while the schedule modernizes. Rolapp wants consequence. McIlroy wants memory to count. Both goals can coexist, but only if money does not secretly referee the match. Fans are split because both instincts feel reasonable. One side wants the best players together, meaningful cuts, simpler schedules, and survival pressure. Another side fears a wealthy Super League perched above a collection of diminished tournaments. Neither concern is silly. Golf needs star power, but it also needs pathways. Tradition matters, yet tradition cannot freeze every week format forever. Money funds events, although money should not become the only measure of importance. The real scandal would be pretending those tensions disappeared because leadership discovered the phrase promotion and relegation. English football works through connected clubs, local identity, open pyramids, and generations of culture. Borrowing two words from that system does not automatically import its legitimacy. Rolapp cannot wave a Premier League scarf and expect every structural problem to vanish. So did Rory literally call the relegation rule a total scam designed to keep LIV out? No reliable public report supports that exact quotation. Nevertheless, the title captures the explosive interpretation now surrounding his verified criticism. McIlroy attacked the economic logic created by LIV. He warned that Track 2 could cheapen respected tournaments. Rolapp's approved structure separates fields, removes sponsor exemptions at the top level, and leaves the LIV pathway unresolved. Those facts create suspicion without requiring invented dialogue. Responsible rage bait should sharpen a real conflict, not manufacture testimony. Honestly, reality already brought enough gasoline. What happens next will determine whether this overhaul becomes Rolapp's master stroke or his most polished disaster. If leadership protects national opens, builds a credible open pathway, treats relegated players fairly, and explains LIV eligibility transparently, the new model could deliver excellent golf. Conversely, if sponsor money decides prestige, historic events lose stars, and returning talent encounters a selectively locked gate, Rory's warning will age like a scoreboard nobody can hide. The PGA Tour would then resemble the very thing it spent years attacking, a concentrated elite product shaped by giant checks with outsiders staring through the fence. Ultimately, McIlroy has forced the argument back onto the first tee. What is the PGA Tour supposed to protect? Its richest events, its loyal members, its historic tournaments, or the wider game? Rolapp wants all four, but his structure may force painful choices. Golf fans should watch the eligibility rules, not merely the launch video. Those details will reveal whether promotion is genuinely open, whether relegation is competitively fair, and whether LIV players face a pathway or a disguised wall. Now drop your verdict below. Is Rolapp building a clearer, tougher PGA Tour, or creating a two-tier scam that sacrifices tradition and quietly keeps LIV at arm's length? Smash like if Rory was right to speak up, subscribe for every twist in this golf civil war, and share this video with someone who still believes a boardroom can fix everything by renaming it. The 2028 clock is running, the rules are unfinished, and this fight is nowhere near the clubhouse. Nothing about this overhaul is settled, regardless of how confidently the executives sell it. Crucially, viewers will remember whether leaders protected competition, heritage, access, and fairness when the promises finally meet reality. This controversy now reaches far beyond one schedule announcement.